Let's dive into Jamie IF's story so far. So Jamie has established himself as a highly successful online marketer and entrepreneur. He had a ton of success in SEO, affiliate marketing, where he made over 1 million in profit. Since then, Jamie's been busy investing in different companies and growing his very own affiliate marketing tool. But before we talk about all of the new stuff, let's rewind and give the audience a brief update on your SEO affiliate marketing days. So, Jamie, let's rewind. You achieved incredible results. You made over 1 million in profit. Take us back to those times. Help us understand why you exited and how you had so much success.
Yeah, I think when you look back on it, I think in the time you think that you're like doing something super difficult and talented, but then actually when you look back on it, you realize that everyone got rich when the days were really good in like SEO affiliate. And so I had to really think that a lot. I think that, you know, I'm glad for everything that happened, made, you know, as you say, over $1 million in profit. And it was great while the going was good in 2022, 2023 until September, especially. And now it's significantly more difficult. But yeah, honestly, it wasn't actually that difficult. I think everyone talked about how this was like some unique thing and then everyone did well and there's some like incredible SEO. I think I'm a good SEO. I don't think I have good technical skill. But it's not about that. Like to make a lot of money, got about to delegate, and I wasn't good at delegating and scaling. And so I think we were capped at like the $50,000 to $80,000 a month in profit that we were doing for a long time. And then the algorithm came along, and we had not built a suitable brand for a lot of these ones to be able to transition out of like the what was considered too much of a signal-based niche site, content site, without a product deeper than that. We hadn't done all the things we needed to do to build real brands, build on e-commerce stores and products and things like that, that perhaps would have seen them through because they would not have been seen as a content-first index site. So we got hit. Some of them didn't, but they were the ones with communities, with big newsletters, with e-commerce stores attached and all this stuff. And so the writing is on the wall for a lot of affiliate SEO, especially in the US market where it's like the strictest filters. We're seeing more e-commerce rank than ever. We're seeing a lot of collection pages rank for like affiliate best phrases and things like that. We're seeing more and more brands rank for their own alternatives and versus keywords and best email. You know, you get MailerLite and MailChimp ranking for those ones now. And it's a lot tougher. So it was good fun, but like I also found it's a bit two-dimensional. It's just content and links, and I'm enjoying right now doing what we'll talk about more with more three-dimensional multi-channel marketing strategies, as well as organic and other strategies as well that are really I'm enjoying a lot more. I think with SEO, it's really good fun and it's still a great acquisition channel, but I don't just want to talk SEO. I want to talk, you know, organic personal brand building to drive traffic via so many different elements of different social media, through newsletters, how to grow those, how to grow community, how to grow, you know, your business via other things like the affiliate channel and partnership marketing and influencers. And really, there's so much more fun out there. And, you know, affiliate was great and it's taught me a lot of things. And now, you know, when we grow affiliate programs on the other side of it with the businesses we run now, it's great fun. And we've learned a lot from that we can now utilize in that. But yeah, I think that when people go, oh, you did so well with affiliate SEO, I think at the time I thought I was one of the chosen ones, but actually now I reflect, and it was actually that most people got rich during the gold rush.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of cool things just now that I'm excited to speak about. But was there a point when maybe you had like an impending sense of doom where you just felt like everything was collapsing before your feet with the SEO affiliate stuff?
No, I wish I had, because I would have sold before it actually happened, didn't it? Like I thought things were going to be good for a long time and they weren't. Perhaps, you know, I've learned my lesson. I'd never had, you know, like 7 figures in pounds in cash before. I was relatively close, but that would have put me well into like 1-2 mil if we'd sold, right? And the money meant nothing to me because I never owned anything like that before. And I didn't know how I would spend it. But now on reflection, that's been hit and we don't have that exit and we didn't get the 7 figures that we would have gotten if we'd sold and we were making $80,000 in profit a month. I'm like, fuck, I wish we'd done that. And the best time to sell is when you feel like it would be horrible to sell. And I recognize that now, because every time you're like, it's good, you're like, oh, but it could be better. And every time it's bad, you're like, oh, I wish I'd sold. And so there has to be a happy medium of pain where you're both not wanting to sell, but it's also a big enough price to then change your life significantly. And so what actually ended up happening is we did move to sell in mid 2023. We went through both FE International and through later Empire Flippers. Both would have given us a between $1 and $2 million exit for the part of the portfolio that we were going to sell. And then unfortunately, because I did not have that preemptive prescient sense of doom, We only went to sell too late, and they got smacked about, during the sales process. We had an offer on the table for just under $1 million in the end, which I declined because it didn't meet the value of the business in my eyes. But now they've been hit, and they're probably worth less than that original offer. It's easy to go and be regretful, but that's just the game. And you mentioned like a sense of doom in advance. Perhaps my radar was off because I didn't think it would be this aggressive. Like we've seen 20%, 30% hits, and that can happen in core updates. And I thought, there might be more of the same, but you can still sell a site that's been dinged 30%, especially because previous Google updates, they were considered recoverable. Like you just do the right thing and you get back in there, and you eventually get your karma for doing good work. I don't think anyone foretold anything as aggressive and as punitive as the helpful content updates, where you just can't recover, your entire category is done for, and you get a 99.9% hit. And so, I don't think we'd ever, people talk about Penguin, but Penguin was mostly for egregious things. Like content sites, they might not be the type of content that you want to prioritize, which I kind of understand, but I also disagree with, because there's also the element of content theft for AI training and stuff, which is extensively use this stuff, so it can't be that bad of content. But also this was not that egregious, but they've treated it like the most egregious thing ever. 99.9% seems like it makes you look bad, because if you used to rank this stuff, then what the fuck was the quality of the search engine like if it's that bad? And so I wish we had moved to sell. I would have taken a discount to sell now, a couple of years ago, but I still did well, man. I did fine.
Yeah, and you've kept the momentum as well. I feel like a lot of affiliates feel like the rug was pulled below their feet. They didn't really continue building as quickly as they should have, because it was emotionally tough, right? You somehow have just plowed forward. I guess having all that money in the bank helps, but you've ran with the momentum. So why don't we talk about that?
Well, how
I'm
are you going
curious.
to take a loss in life? How are you going to let anything stop you doing what you want to do? Even at the moment, and it's also shocking and traumatic when you lose $1 million in a day, right? So it's how the fuck do you respond to that? Well, the answer is to figure out how never to let that happen again, right? And a lot of that is down to platform risk. And you relied on Google for too much of your traffic, which was my fault. I didn't branch out enough into email, into socials, whatever else at the time. Pinterest was crushing, and we just didn't prioritize it because organic was so good. And weirdly, a lot of the people that have been hit, like the niche site influencers on Twitter and that, they're all talking about Facebook traffic and Pinterest traffic and making $1,000 a month off this. And that's really fucking cool, as an extra. But if you make it your main, I'm building these Pinterest only sites or Facebook only sites, you're basically in the same position again. It should be part of a larger brand strategy. It can't be your whole, we've learned from our mistakes now. One traffic source equals platform risk equals eventually the algorithm will not favor you. And there's no reason for a multinational billion-trillion-dollar company to want to send people off of there when they make their money from ads that come within the platform. That's just how the game goes. Pinterest in 2020 reduced significantly the amount of traffic they were sending out. They brought it back in around 2023, which is why everyone's talking about Pinterest now. Facebook's algorithm is, it used to send a lot of traffic to videos that they were trying to rival YouTube with. And so you get, a lot of these big, viral Facebook channels with the big YouTube, like the Jubilees and the Cuts, that were making these viral YouTube videos around funny viral style things, like rate people from the least to most attractive, and they have to rate, these silly viral videos. They were crushing on Facebook until one day they turned the thing off, and then they had to go and do YouTube again only. How are you going to build a brand on one traffic channel? You can't. It's the same thing as Google. So I don't know why people are traumatically repeating the same circle of trauma that they put themselves in with Google. These are great traffic sources. Some of them fit better different companies and brands than others, and you have to find out what you can make work with your brand and try things and try them enough so you can fail them properly rather than false negative without actually putting the proper effort in. But I don't understand why people do that. We're working on doing a lot of expanding the traffic channels now. To give you an example, on my personal brand, we're doing much more LinkedIn now, as you know, Craig. We're doing Twitter, we're doing the newsletter, and we're going to see how we can do YouTube and things like that, as well as a lot of affiliate outreach to help them spread the word for us. Those are multi-channel strategy, and there's some more in there as well. We can add paid, we have newsletters, we have lead magnets and things like that. Any of those can be taken at any time. I'll give you another example. At the moment, Google in Gmail is testing a feature where you don't actually open newsletters anymore. Little AI summary and goes, yeah, here's it. So everyone thought that email was the last bastion of real impressions. No one's going to take this away from me. I own my audience. As long as they open them, I've got them forever. Okay, but what happens when you get summarized and the CTA and affiliate link and product link is not in the summary? Like, this is all liable to be taken. You have to adapt with the times. I'm not pleased about it, but it's the situation. And so even if you're focusing on one traditionally safe traffic channel, it will change and you have to adapt with that change. But the worst thing you can do now is only have one option. And so we talk about like learning from mistakes or moving on and stuff like that. Keeping the momentum. Yes, I want to keep the momentum. Yes, I'm terrified and horrified by what happened and it was very traumatic. But the goal to get around that and to respond is not to put yourself in a position where you can have the same thing happen. And so what we do now is we're trying to build businesses that are not reliant on anything that can most likely be gone in the next 5 years. I don't believe that the moat for building a big business in the future will be technological. I think that these things will become more and more accessible. And even now, with cutting edge Bolt UIs, Replit for setting things up, Cursor for general coding and feedback and debugging, the barriers to entry on a technological level are so much lower. The barriers to distribution are higher than ever because you've got to contend with AI slop everywhere that is just noise. Impressions are getting more and more expensive to pay for. Impressions are getting less and less engagement focused as you get summaries of shit rather than just from the horse's mouth, emotional, like community building stuff. And so that's the way the tide is going. Even though the technological barriers are going to decrease, one thing you can never get a generative technological coding fucking agent to do is come up with large forms of proprietary data. And so when we build companies now, we're after distribution and data that no one else can build. I don't care what your traffic source is, find it and make it work. But I don't care what your unique advantage in terms of your coding ability. Engineers will be fine for a while, like good fucking engineers will be fine. But you know, I'm talking about every year the barrier goes up. Same with content writing. Data and distribution is what I'm focused on. And that's the plan. And that's why you got to keep the momentum up, because that is a difficult moat to build, but it's the only moat that will be around in 5-10 years.
Yeah, you mentioned a few really interesting points there that I want to talk about in a minute, but let's rewind 1 second, because I think at one point during your affiliate success, you decided that I'm going to start building my personal brand. And I think that's helped you a lot. You know, it's brought a lot of opportunities to your door. It's given you a lot of leverage. Why did you start, and what was the sort of biggest growth lever for your personal brand?
Yeah, honestly, not like wasn't like now there's much more strategy and like purposefulness in it. But when I first started, it was just I saw there was people talking about niche sites on Twitter, and I was also doing niche sites. And I thought I was making more money than all of them. So I was like, all right, I'm going to join now and see if I can chat to everyone. And yeah, like at the time, like niche sites were hot. Everyone wanted to follow all the niche site people. It was this like meme. Like, everyone was niche site whatever, and niche site cat and niche site dog, and you know some of them are still really successful. I've become friends with a lot of people. I've met niche site lady, and she's wonderful. I've met some other great people that have Ian Nuttall, who's also was big on like programmatic in the niche site game. Some great people that I've met since then, and I'm really grateful to the Twitter community from that. It was so fast as well. Like when something's hot and the gold mine is like the gold is still there before you've dug it all up. Like you can just feel like it's a kind of like AI writers last year and things like that. Like everyone got rich in the industry, and so like you can talk about being a good businessman, a good marketer, or whatever. But like if you're in the right place at the right time, like it's much more difficult to fail than if you're like fighting an uphill battle, right? Like it's a lot easier to grow an AI writer in 2023 than it is to grow most businesses. Right? Maybe not so in 2024, and definitely not in 2025. But it's some of it is time and a place, and the niche site game was the right place to be, and it meant that I grew a lot of followers very quickly. Let's tape it off a bit now because I'm not as hot as it anymore as like the niche site community dies, but hopefully we're going to come back when we have some more cool stuff to talk about. The algorithms also changed significantly, and so it's a lot more difficult to get reach now, and so you have to completely change the content style, and we're experimenting with some stuff like that. But yeah, the personal brand is like, it has been a lucky accidental happening. And I owe a lot of the deals and the momentum that I like to think I've kept up since the destruction of the primary affiliate business to the personal brand, and being able to recalculate, use the network that I have to be able to get distribution on new projects and help people in return and things like that. And it also, for example, I jump on sales calls now because we do have this agency wing of the SaaS. And as soon as they go, oh yeah, thanks. Like if we say the price and it's a bit too much for them, they don't just go, oh, fuck this. They go, Jamie, I really appreciate, I've been following you on Twitter all this time. I'm like, all right, I know the deal's closing at some point then. Like, it's like you can change the frame instantly, and like you control the frame of that conversation for the rest of it. And so it's just so much easier to do like sales calls and stuff when like there's a parasocial relationship in there.
Yeah. I do agree, like proximity is power, being in the right place, the right time. It's one thing that I've noticed being down here in South Africa, like I feel very isolated, and you've been going to all these events, you've been going to Chiang Mai, you're in the right place, you've built your own community now as well, Conversion Collective. And I think that's, such an asset to everyone just now because things are moving so fast and it is hard to keep up. You seem to always be one step ahead. And I think that comes from, going to these events and the personal brand that you've built. What kind of opportunities
about this actually going out? I've got a tweet that I think succinctly summarizes the reason to go to an event. 99.9% of the event is a fucking waste of time. Like 99% of the conferences are paid for speaking slots, not necessarily Chiang Mai, but some of the smaller events. Like, so it's just a big old sales pitch. Not worth going to most of them. You don't learn anything, especially if you're a beginner, then cool. But if you're more advanced, it's usually stuff unless it's proprietary testing, which is why I always go to like a Kyle Roof speaking slot or whatever, because there's actual testing, not just hearsay and secondary research. But it's not like the conferences, and the networking is great and that can come in handy. But if you've got a big burning problem on your mind, one that you've spent a month surmising, wondering, stressing if that's going to be surmountable, and then randomly some drunk guy at the bar will say something in 5 seconds that like completely change or has the answers to your problem, because you're only a human, you only have your own brain, and it's difficult to think outside of your own brain. One person will say something that saves you 100 grand, makes you 100 grand more this year, saves you a month of time, helps you hire that person. A connection, like for example, the version of that in Dynamite Circle in Bangkok last week was thank you to Mad Singers, who put me on to a lead for a CTO for our software business. Now, if we hire that person, that pays off the event 50 times over, because the search costs and finding someone you can trust and move the product faster is so high. It will be the one thing, like, my problem was I need to find someone to take control of the product and the technological side on a CTO thing. Another time it was I was struggling to manage people and scale, and someone said one thing that made that so much easier, and like the framework put it into my head. Done. In another situation, it might be and people have told me that I've had this effect on them when I've given them the answer to something they were struggling with when they were trying to scale parasite SEO, for example. Like, it's not about like, oh, in the last hour I haven't got value, I should have been working. It's like, no, just commit to the 3-4 days, be present, be happy to be there, be as helpful as you can be, and the random transformational things will happen at some point in the event. I've never had one where it didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't know why I don't go anymore, because every single time I've been to an event, I've walked away with something. Someone shared something, or they've even just like riffing off the energy that people have at these events, and you see someone doing 10 times more than you. It breaks those limiting beliefs that I think are quite common when you're isolated. So let's talk about how you invested all your profits now. So you made a lot of money in affiliate, you've invested those profits. Where have you spent your money?
Yeah, we're hemorrhaging money right now, and proudly, because we're trying to build the 9-figure business, right? So I lose 30 to 40 grand a month right now, and we'll be fine. Like, the numbers are looking good already. I think we might be one of the fastest agencies to ever go from 0 to 7 figures. Like, I think we can do it in like 3 months, and that'd be really cool. Because we haven't even launched yet. We've got fucking half of it in the pipeline right now, which will be fucking cool. But we're hemorrhaging money right now. And so, spent over 100 grand on the software launch that I'm sure we'll talk about more later. You know, committed about £500,000 this year in staff before actually having any revenue. And so it's stressful stuff, right? Because if this goes wrong, you've burnt through 3-4 years of the good times just to have one bad year because you had a hunch that something would work. But that's business. Like, that's why no one can say, who isn't in business, oh, you're overpaid or like whatever. And it's like, well, you know, I really did put it on the line here. I saw what could be a good return. And so, you know, if you want to put all of your life savings that you could have bought a house with and lived a nice little life in the suburbs on the line and risk it all, then you're welcome to. But if you're not, then I'm sorry that risk reward ratio exists, because I'm going to take it if I think I'm correct and everyone else is wrong. But yeah, we made a lot of money for a while, and I'm investing and risking most of it at the moment. But it's why, like, sorry, I've still got a residual cough from an event last week. And it's in business, and this is the reason I love the game so much. Like, it's on you. There's no noise, and you've got to dig yourself a hole and get yourself out of it. And there's nothing more adventurous and fun and fulfilling in that, and purposeful, especially if you love what you do and you love building things. And so don't feel sorry for me, but also don't chastise me when I get filthy rich and make me, you know, feel shamed for that, because I don't feel shamed for that. Yeah, investing in hemorrhaging money right now, I think, is the TLDR of that question.
That's a lot to lose per month, but a lot to stomach. Yeah, that's, to me, that's insane. You've got a big risk tolerance for different stages of life, I guess, but that's a lot. I don't think many people could take that risk, and that's why the reward will probably be crazy too. And I know your team, you have an awesome team, so you've definitely spent it in the right places. So can we talk about the companies where you've spent the money?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So should we start with the big? Let's start with the big one. Yeah.
The big one. All right. So yeah, most people know that my history is in affiliate marketing as an affiliate, but not everyone knows that I was a CMO for an affiliate analytics company called Lasso for a while. And at the peak of my power, I was making 80 grand a month. I took this job paying nothing because I wanted to learn how to do SaaS marketing. And I was also getting a bit disillusioned with content and links, because it is a bit two-dimensional just doing content and links. And I was like, I honestly, like, in my mind, I was like, I want to keep going and doing things until I find out that I get retired from the game because I'm not good enough and talented enough to do it. But until then, I'm going to keep pushing the ceiling until I get retired, until I get booted out of the game. And so I was like, all right, SaaS marketing is harder than SEO, so I'm going to do that. And when I started, I definitely could not have, if I'd started the SaaS business that we have now in Dorsley, it would have been an abject failure. I didn't have the skills. But after a year at Lasso, I felt I did have the skills. And so it was a learning lesson. I learned a lot. I failed a lot. I don't think I was a resounding success. Like, we grew the MRR, we scaled the affiliate program really well. But I could have done things so much better. You know, I was pretty average performer, I'd say, like 5.5 out of 10 on that project. But now, having learned how SaaS businesses run, the marketing, operations, people management, different areas and how that goes, I feel much more confident. And so, yeah, for the last 6 months, we've been building an affiliate marketing software for SaaS businesses, agencies, marketplaces to build their affiliate program with. So basically, you connect in Dorsley the software with your payment processor, whether that's Stripe, Lemon Squeezy, ChargeBee, Paddle. We have integrations for SPP, Go High Level, and things like that now. Get set up, get the code integrated on the JavaScript on your site for the cookieless tracking, and get ready and get started. 15 minutes is all it takes once you have the integration. You can then track and recruit all affiliates, you know, recruit people in, invite influencers and stuff to promote you, set the campaign. You can add different affiliates into different campaigns. If some big affiliates need more money and all this sort of stuff, give them bonuses, and then pay them out once they convert you lots of money. Now, the main difference between what we do and the original OGs of the game, like Rewardful, Tolt, First Promoter, Link Mink, Tapfiliate, is that they all cost money and we are free to use up to $20,000 a month in affiliate revenue, which 98% of startups probably never reach. So for most people, we're democratizing the affiliate game. There's nothing you have to pay. It's completely free, and we're much more advanced software than most of the other things. And we're building some crazy shit that will literally make us better than Rewardful and that, even though we're free. So if you want to keep paying Rewardful $49.99 a month, you can. you can also get it completely free with Endorsey.com. Up to $20,000 a month, completely free for $20,000 in affiliate revenue. Now, we made it free because when we were talking to people, like within our network before we launched it and announced it, everyone was like, "Yeah, the software's okay, like it's cool, but like we don't really want to do it ourselves. Like, can you manage it for us?" So in my head, I'm going, "Okay, I don't really want to. You know, I think I'm too good for manual labor, but I'll do it." Not literally, but like, you know, I'll delegate it, whatever. You know, I'll give the SOPs to people. But I've grown affiliate programs before, and I'm pretty good at it. So I was like, fine. So I gave them the price that I thought would be too much money. Our prices start between $6,000 and $10,000 a month, and then we have performance and bonuses on top of that can take it more if we crush it, right? And everyone was like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Shit, I have to build an agency now. Like, I guess I have to do. I've never done this before. I guess I have to build an agency." And everyone wants it. So like, if we're gonna like do this, we want to maximize leads, and the software is going to be a ball ache to sell for $49 or whatever it would have been to do price parity with reward for. We may as well just win on price, flood the market with 10,000 companies, leaving everyone else, rip the business model up, and then if anyone does want to have us manage it for them and have us absolutely crush it for them, then they can pay us, and it's great lead gen. And that's how we're going to pay for the absolute hemorrhaging of money it's cost to build this and to continue to build this software.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. How did you build the team then? So like, I just want to understand how you got to this point. So it started off as a tool that I know you spent a lot of money in. Then you started speaking to people and they basically wanted it done for them. So now you've pivoted into this agency model. What sort of team do you need to do this? And yeah, just talk to me about the pains that you faced in the first few months that led to this point, which by the way sounds like a much better direction. Yeah.
The team is head of growth, who is Stephen Canner, who used to work at what I've ever met, absolute machine. We're in the process of onboarding the CTO from, if that all goes smoothly, from Mads' recommendations, as well as another a full stack engineer we're hiring, as well as another person who currently works with us on the dev side, as well as a full stack person. So we'll have 3 people in the engineering team at the moment. There's me that sort of sits in the middle and tries to make sure that nothing goes too badly wrong. We have Joe, who's the creative director, who's responsible for everything organic lead gen, basically. So lead magnet creation, finding ways to increase the newsletter audience with the right people that match our ICP and things like that, but not directly marketing, but more like on the organic personal brand marketing for me. And we are in the process of hiring someone to do operations for the agency side and sort of sit at the top of that and make sure the operations are in place for everyone who works underneath. And because we're in the process of signing probably close to 24 businesses for the affiliate management, we're hiring a lot of affiliate managers to help fulfill that. Now, I'm pretty good at this shit and I can do the strategy and high level stuff. It just requires the execution of that. And affiliate management isn't rocket science. It's just strategy plus tenacity. Like, the reason that most affiliate programs don't work is not because like the offer isn't good, though often the offer isn't good. It's just because there wasn't enough hours of just outreaching going into it. And you can stick it through fucking instantly and whatever else. And that is great. And I advocate for a 2-tier system where the people that are not going to change the life of your business or don't on the face of look of it, you can do big mass outreach there. But a lot of it is just like LinkedIn requests, following up 5 times on the people that can drive big business. And so most people don't do these sorts of things because it's time intensive and it can take months to build these big partnerships. I know someone that took 2 months to do one deal with Tech Radar to promote a product. And 2 months later, it got put in one article and fucking doubled their sales. And so like these huge exponentially result achieving things, they're bureaucratic and they take a long time. And they just required us outreach because only 1 in 100 will work out. So you have to send so many emails. And so, the strategy is not, for me anyway, not the most difficult thing when you're building the affiliate channel for a business. It's finding the ICP, finding the types of people that would work, the types of channels that would work, the promotion profiles of people, so you can find the right types of affiliates, putting the right things in place to incentivize them, with activation bonuses and contests and things like that. And then finding people who are absolutely tenacious, who can execute on that strategy before, because it's not gold dust as long as the strategy is in place. It's just a lot of elbow grease and work. And so, it's tenacity plus strategy.
Very cool.
Half a dozen affiliate managers as well as a community manager we're trying to hire at the moment for the Conversion Collective to really scale that community side as well.
Very cool. Cool. So when does it officially launch? When is the big launch?
The plan is November the 4th, but we're having some issues with Stripe marketplace integration, so we might have to delay it a little bit.
Okay, cool. Cool. Well, that's exciting. Okay, so talk to me about the next business. What was the next investment?
Well, we recently bought AnswerSocrates.com for just under $25,000, and completely free tool. So the valuation was tough, and that deal almost died like 5 times because we had this WhatsApp group chat with me and James Oliver, my business partner, and the 2 people that ran Answer Socrates, and that deal died so many times. And then like a month later, one part of the team would go, or either me and James or Yuri and Tobias on the other side would go, yeah, so we've done this, is a deal on? And then something would be in the way and we're like, no, all right, this is falling apart, forget about it, move on. And then something would happen that would like rekindle the hope of doing this deal, and eventually we got it down over the line. Not in favorable terms for us. We wanted it close to 15,000 and they got us up to nearly 25. But the deal was done. Now it's completely free, unlimited keyword research generations for the moment. We are going to add some premium features, which are going to be incredible and be like 10 times cheaper than anything else and better than anyone else offers. Because I think that not many people are innovating in that like side of the market tech. And it's a bit disappointing that we've got a developer helping us not full time, and we're building shit that no one else has seemingly been able to build like ever, and like doing it in a better UI because it's not confusing like all these other tools. And so the best thing about Answer Socrates, and the reason we bought it wasn't because of the tech. In fact, the tech is actually quite doable now if you know how Google's APIs and also suggest and things work. The reason we bought it was because it had 400,000 page views a month in direct and organic traffic. So it was a lead gen machine. So yeah, we want to build this paid version for like cool extras because it will just cost us a lot in API costs to do some of the things we want to do. We need to offset that. But the main reason we bought it is just because it had no email sign up thing on it when we bought it, right? We added one, we spent a week building an auth to give you a magic link or a Google login screen. And within 5 days, we had 2,000 email signups. Now, if you're an SEO, you know that's a lot of lead gen for other stuff that's related. And we would never send anyone anything promo-ish that wasn't relevant to SEO and that that isn't good quality and that they don't want. But we run other SEO SaaS tools. Craig, we work together on content. There's a lot of synergy in that. And so for anyone else, buying a pre-revenue tool for almost $25,000 would probably be something that wouldn't make sense ROI wise. But for us, because we have these other businesses and other systems and other communities that are, tangentially related, and I think that a lot of people who sign up for one would be interested in the others, and so there's cross-selling opportunities. I'm hoping that we're going to make $1 million in profit off this deal, and 40x our investment.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool. When you told me how much traffic it got, I was shocked. I was like, wow. Yeah, and I know how many different assets and things that are, they have a great synergy with this tool. So you'll do very well with it, I think. And then why don't we just talk about the other tool, the other SEO tool that you have invested in, that we now use at My Content Pal as well, that is also perfect for this.
Yeah, like at the beginning of this call, I said, I think that the technological barriers things will come down and the only moat is data and distribution. What I didn't want to say, but what is true, is that because of that, there will be a trend, and I think SaaS multiples for sale will collapse over the next few years. At the moment, you're getting mental 5, 8x ARR for shit that's not going to be around in 5 to 8 years. Like they're going to get run out of town in the next 3, 4 years. It'll go down to like 2, 3x in my opinion. And that'll be because the prices of SaaS trend towards zero, because it's easier and easier to make stuff. So some kid from any place in the world can make something. have lower costs than you because you're bloated, you have staff, you have sales reps, all the other marketing teams, and make it cheaper. There are some countries in the world where you can live a decent life, and I've lived in them for $300-400 a month. You don't live well, but you can. And so if you grow up earning $300 to $400 a month, and your target, in the UK, we might go, I want 10-20 grand a month because that's what we think gives us a great life. And we're deep in the hedonism and whatever else from that. Someone else that just wants to make $1,000 a month to live a really great life, it's okay charging $4 a month for the thing that you charge $100 for, as long as the API things are cheap enough to bring those data sources on. And so I don't want to get run out of town. I want to run everyone else out of town. And so a lot of the strategy we're doing now is basically doing that to existing companies and doing it better. So I'm really lucky that on this tool, Content Raptor, I've got an incredible business partner, Zach Kahn, who has built, and it comes from a very high big data science background. And so it's one of the most talented engineers in the whole of SEO. So he can build, and that is a barrier to entry, to be fair. Like I talk about technological barriers to entry. If you're cracked as fuck, then fine. You're going to have a longer runway than an entry-level developer who can use the same GPT APIs that everyone else can. He can do things that very few people do. So that's interesting to me for starters. Also, with what Content Raptor does, which is entity and keyword on-page SEO optimization, kind of like Surfer, there's a lot of profit in there because it's not actually very expensive to scrape a SERP and do entity recognition. It's just really difficult to replicate, so you have to pay the prices. It's getting easier though, and so the prices will come down. I would rather run people out of town than get run out of town. And so we built Content Raptor, wherein you get all of the on-page entity and keyword optimization recommendations, but where Surfer doesn't do things is like they'll script the SERPs just as we do and give you recommendations on entities and densities and things like that. We instead connect to your Google Search Console, and we use a proprietary system that we built in-house that will detect which pages and URLs on your site, based on your GSC data and its own perceptions, you can gain the most traffic for the fastest by optimizing based on your current keywords and level of optimization on those. So it's kind of like Surfer and Query Hunter combined. The kicker being it's 85 to 90% cheaper than Surfer. Sorry to Surfer, they're just the most well-known. It's the easiest to compare. I actually have nothing against them. I've met them. They seem like great people. It's just everyone knows Surfer, so it's easiest to compare to them. We're $10 a month, but unlimited content optimizations. On Surfer, the cheapest plan is $89 a month for 30 articles optimization. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. As well as we include rank tracking, so that when you optimize a keyword, you can then stick it in the rank tracker and check the progress over time. And we have a Kanban board for managing content with teams, like a Trello style thing, but optimizing content, built for agencies and stuff like that. And I think I can talk about this because I think this will come out after November the 11th, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're also, we have it shipped and ready to go. It will launch on 11th of November. So if you're listening to this after the 11th of November, we will have A/B testing like people currently use SEO testing for, built robustly. So you won't need to use SEO testing. You'll have it all within Content Raptor. Now that it does cost a bit more. In the new year, the prices will go up from $10 a month to $17 a month. And the full testing agency kit will go up to $47 a month. So you have to pay another $30 for the full agency level things. But given that that's still cheaper than what the default for SEO testing is anyway, we're still the cheapest by far. And it's much easier to use. The UI is better than SEO testing as well.
Yeah, the vision for the tool is very cool. Very cool for sure. I'd love to talk about each company in more detail, but I really want to know how you're going to market them all. So you have, a lot on your plate now, and you mentioned you're hemorrhaging a lot of money as well. So you must be focused on acquisition, day in, day out now. So talk to me about, why don't we start with Joe? So how did you find Joe, and what made you hire a creative director?
Yeah, so Joe, who's my current creative director, worked for me as my number two in the affiliate sites when we ran the portfolio for about 2 years. So he's learned exactly what he's also seen me build the personal brand, because he's seen me start tweeting whatever the current brand voice has evolved into. And so he knows better than probably anyone else in the world how I speak, how I talk, what I think, what my philosophical positions are, what my bold opinions are, what I don't want to talk about is. And so when you're building an even stronger person, or trying to, we'll see what happens, right? When you're trying to build a strong personal brand, you need someone that can like 99% be you, so that there's the least chance of anyone going, oh, that doesn't sound like you, what the fuck's going on there? And he's best placed to do that. And I think he after in about March, we went our different ways. He went and worked for Louis Nichols, who's the founder of Sparkloop, on his Grow My Newsletter. I know it's Meta, right? A newsletter on growing a newsletter. But it's pretty cool and helped scale that. And then I think when I spoke to him about this other option around, like, we've put a lot of money into this new software around affiliate. We want to absolutely blow this up. And this is like the last dance. Like, we're going for the big one now. And I think he was intrigued by the mission. We struck a deal for him to return to us. And now his day-to-day is like, for example, we bought another newsletter that we're currently folding into our main one, the increasing.com newsletter, which is a more general online business growth / SaaS marketing growth, just increasing your online business newsletter. So we'll add a few thousand subscribers from that. He creates lead magnets. For example, we have one on 170 SaaS backlinks you can get for your SaaS. And that got like 800 downloads from Twitter alone, and we haven't even put it onto the subreddits and LinkedIn and stuff yet. And so he's responsible for helping organic lead gen by creating things that our ICP would want and associate with, so that we can move them through the welcome sequence, through the value chain, and see if we can then eventually put Endorsely or anything else in front of them and have them take action and join us, because we've built that connection with them.
Yeah, very cool. You're very involved, though. I know you're still very involved in the content production process. And Joe is essentially another arm for you, and Brian too. He's a very smart guy. But how do you shift into that creator's mindset when you're balancing like all of these other responsibilities? You have the weight of the expenses. You must. Is that tricky? How do you do it?
Firstly, you can't hire a creative director and pay them, a UK decent above average wage in the UK, unless you have a bag in the future big enough that there's clear path to profitability there, right? And so, if you're building a niche site on Pinterest, then you probably can't hire a creative director. But if you're building a B2B enterprise SaaS where one lead is worth 4 figures, then yes, now blowing up your personal channels is a profitable thing to do. So there needs to be the right offer in place. I like to think that we have that, especially with the agency, where if you sign a 6-month contract with us at $6,000 a month, we have a guaranteed $36,000 per lead, the converted lead. And so, that pays off the majority of the salary of a creative director.
But also, sorry, you go.
But also, it won't work for most people, because you need someone that knows you and your style inside out. And so in the last month and a half, we've gotten to the stage where I need a lot less involvement. At the beginning, I was re-editing everything and making feedback, and we were creating feedback SOPs based on, do this type of tweet differently, this type of post can be done differently here, number the threads so that it is better formatted for readability, things like that. And then you iron out those mistakes. But you start at the smaller things, because we've known each other for 2 years plus, the big things are mostly solved. But for anyone else, you'll have to go through the big things, and it could be a 3-4 month ramp up period if you have the standards that I have for social media content and brand, and not going below a certain level, because it's difficult. So it's really difficult to outsource you, especially with, and I'm not sure I'd recommend it for most people, to be honest, because there's different reasons to do it, right? And with the way the algorithms are now shown, especially Twitter, less so on LinkedIn, you cannot be in any way inauthentic and expect to get any reach on Twitter nowadays. There is sentiment filters right now. If it doesn't feel authentic, and if it feels in any way self-promotional or just generic, It's not getting reach unless he comes from a huge account. The accounts growing now are not the ones that just like have the best threads. It's the ones that are just saying from the heart what they think about a topic that's like radioactive enough to go out. And there's some bad things in that as well, because especially at the moment on Twitter, all you see is like political stuff and whatever else. But it's because the algorithm's been tuned up. I mean, it might go down after the election, to be fair. I don't know if this is election related or if this is just the general trend. But it used to be if you posted a thread every day and you tweeted every day, it was about quantity. You had to show up every day and do good content. Good, not great. Good enough, because you'd always get sent to your existing followers. If you had 20K, you'd get 5, 6, 7K guaranteed views, because that's how many people would log in that day. And they would see it. Now, the Twitter algorithm is more akin to the YouTube one, where you can have 200,000 followers, but if your content doesn't test well on the initial subset of your fans that it's tested on to see whether the engagement and dwell time measures are high, you'll just never reach anyone. And so sometimes I'll tweet something that's like promotional, and it'll go to like under 1,000 people, even though I have over 23,000 Twitter followers. Less than 5%. Less than 5%. But if I tweet a banger and it's authentic, it goes out more and more and more, and you can see the radioactiveness take off. So it's never been harder to get reach on Twitter, because everyone, and me included, has been doing things that didn't work since 2023. You know, every now and then we'll post a generic thread like that used to go really well, like here's 5 things you can learn about business from Airbnb's founder, and that one did well, to be fair. But they often don't, because they don't hit the zeitgeist. They're not personal, they're not authentic, they're not from the heart. And so we're going to do less of those going forwards. And even because of the way the algorithm's structured now, even if you do get 1 million views on a thread like that, and you know, those are the easiest ones to ghostwrite as well, because you don't need to know anything specific about an industry. You can just take an interview and like summarize it. So like realistically, an AI or a VA could do that now. And so the barriers to entry for those things are low, which means the value of that content is lower than ever, because it's replicable. And let's say even if those content continue to bang forever, and it's just like money, 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 followers, 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 for posting generic threads on Airbnb's founder, right? When you come to collect, aka you've done the top of funnel, and now you've got them in and you're ready to sell what you want to sell to them, given the way the algorithm is structured now, if it's not authentic and real and whatever, you know, and if they're not in that highly engaged subgroup, of which I have maybe 500 to 1,000 people that really click on everything I do, they're really engaged, and Twitter can tell that, so it will still show whatever I tweet to them no matter what. It won't score well on engagement, because it's a conversion focused thing. Buy my product, I've got a deal on, Black Friday discount, limited time offer, whatever it may be. Book a call. No one will see it. So even if I've got 1 million views on my top of funnel stuff, that's not actually top of funnel stuff. I was LinkedIn posting about this yesterday. They're not in the funnel at all, because they've seen it, they've not engaged enough, and so now like you've teased them with this top of funnel thing that's not actually related to your business. So they don't learn anything about you. They don't like you. Even if they follow you, they don't know anything about you. And then when you come to collect on the conversion focused content, the traditional line of thought was awareness, interest, you know, AIDA kind of structure. That doesn't exist anymore, because that assumes perfect ability to reach those customers. You will not reach them on social media anymore unless the initial top of funnel stuff is so engagement heavy, real authentic thoughts, real bold willingness to take a risk and get criticism for something that goes beyond the pale. They're not going to see that content anyway. And so that's more of a reason that makes it more and more difficult to hire a creative director, because it's very difficult to hire someone that has unique, bold, authentic thoughts, can vocalize them in your voice, and they're in your industry to engage people. It's really difficult to do now. And so it's very few people can do it, which is why when certain agencies such as, you know, the We Are Incognito brand can do it, you have to jump on that, because it's a very rare thing. It's very difficult to do, and very few agencies are ready for that shift. Craig, we talk about this all the time, so I know you're ready for that shift, and you're ready to make sure that clients are still coming off as raw and authentic and building those real relationships and engaging people. But it's really, really difficult now. LinkedIn will probably follow that direction. Twitter has gone in that direction as well. But it's the same way, like YouTubers used to just post every day. They'd post a daily vlog or a daily gaming video, and it would be fine, because you would reach your audience. Good enough was good, and so prioritize quality. Now we've reached the era of the internet of saturation. It's never been easier to spin up something okay. But to do something great is just as hard as ever. And in trying to ensure against the spam and the enshittification of the internet, these algorithms quite rightly have moved to a thing where you don't reach people with good. You only reach people. Followers, subscribers, whatever, are less important than the actual content itself. So it is more meritocratic. And so there's some good things to that. I think that Twitter's too harsh. Like, I still want to reach like 20% of my followers if I tweet something that's okay, like not great, not 2%. But it's so difficult to scale socials now unless you've got something really unique. And so it is more meritocratic, but it's really difficult to scale and delegate to a creative director or anyone else now, simply because those real burning opinions require a level of expertise and obsession with your industry to surface. And anyone with those opinions is probably too successful and has too much earning potential to work for someone else, writing for someone else. And so it's a rare thing when you can really get into that, which is why I'm impressed by your process and how you've been able to replicate that scale for your clients, because it is really, really difficult to do.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I agree with it. I think I actually prefer Twitter for like my own consumption. I just think it's a better platform. LinkedIn definitely gives you more impressions. You can definitely make more money on LinkedIn just now. But it's because of that, you see these ghostwriters push the same threads, the same styles. I don't think I look at any carousels anymore personally. The odd person I do, but because they're so overdone, it's just went the wrong way. Whereas on Twitter, the thing that I like about Twitter, and you look at people like Levels, they post authentic lifestyle content as well. And to me, that makes them more human, more interesting, and it's just fun. Another guy that does this really well is Alex Lieberman, who runs another ghostwriting company. But his content's very good because it's always doing, it's always unique. It's always an interesting take. You can tell he's put a lot of thought into it, but it's also clear that he just does it. He rips off it. He's not thinking about trying to produce an idea. He just has so many freaking cool ideas, and he just puts it out. And yeah, I just really like it. Who have you saw that does this really well?
In the SaaS game, people like Levels, Tebow that ran Taplio and Tweet Hunter, now he's doing Feather and some other things. Mark Liu has been hated a lot for this SaaS boilerplate stuff and security issues, but he's hit the vein of like everything he does, people pay attention. And so really being the product itself is secondary to the distribution of the product. So I don't really have an opinion. I don't care about any issues, but in terms of marketing, it's genius. And that's in that sort of like indie hacker thing, though I think that that's kind of dying now because it's become so big and saturated. So like everyone can build software now. People that used to have to like be good at coding to be an indie hacker, and now anyone can pick up Cursor and identify as an indie hacker. And so, but yeah, in that space, that's who's crushing. Then there's people in marketing who are crushing, like Cody Schneider, and some other people that just have that raw way of talking that just like reaches deep into your soul, which is what you have to do. You have to tattoo yourself on people's brain now, or they won't pay attention.
Yeah. I like how the indie hackers tweet, though. I must say, the whole build in public. I think it's really enjoyable to watch, and it sparks a lot of ideas for me as well. So yeah, how do you? One last question, because I could speak to you for another hour, but how do you? Okay, so if there's a SaaS founder watching, and they're always in go 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 mode, how? What advice would you give them to think about the idea, to think about content, to remove themselves from operations and just start posting on social media? Yeah.
If you have one project and it's cool, then it's really easy because you just have to tweet about the cool thing on your one main project. Like a lot of like brand is just repetition, especially on social media. There's almost a joke, like when you see the same person go, I built a niche version of X for the 15,000th tweet in a row, or like, and it still hits because you've tattooed yourself on their brain. You just like talk about the same thing that you're doing, have something cool enough that people want to take the time to pay attention to it. And you can talk about the product and then talk about adjacent things, hot takes in the industry, bold opinions about things that people might not think about with regards to your industry that mark you as an expert for social proof, but also someone worth paying attention for personality and character-wise. That's how I would do that. It's not going to be directly attributable to sales because click-throughs on socials are terrible, but it is a general brand building play. It's not the only players I talked about. You driving all your sales through your Twitter or LinkedIn account is just as big a platform risk as me being on Google trying to do affiliate sales for tech when I was doing tech affiliate stuff. It has to be supplemented by a good SEO content strategy, which is ironic given that, you know, I come from SEO, but I talk negatively about SEO a lot, but it's still a fantastic strategy, especially for bottom of funnel things like alternatives, keywords for your competitors versus keywords, listicles. There's a lot of parasite SEO opportunities now on Google and with Reddit and LinkedIn and places like that. A sound paid ad strategy if you have the budgets. A lot of people want to rush straight to a a landing page before they've done the right CRO. Keep that data to hand, but like I think that the better thing to do if you're earlier and you're patient is to send ads to lead magnets instead that are really well written. It will save you more money because you'll be able to get cheaper cost per subscriber than customers. And then if it's related enough to the lead magnet, you can funnel them through there. But it needs to be part of only do as many strategies and channels as you can do really well. Never like spread yourself too thin, right? Is what I'll say to anyone. And I know I'm a fucking hypocrite because I don't do this enough, but I also tell you about it a lot. But do as many as you need to not be on one platform risk. Like if LinkedIn's going well, crush LinkedIn. If YouTube's going well, crush YouTube. But also keep enough in place, I guess, so that you can't have, especially if it's big enough. Like if you're small and you've only got time to do like one channel that works. But once you get to a certain level, you got a lot to lose. You've got to diversify in that, I guess, and that's what I would say. But the content game, just to go back to that, because I know that was your original question, is be on brand, be the X niche person. It's okay to talk about your company as long as it's cool and interesting and it's not salesy, it's authentic. And they just keep hammering home the same points. A lot of it is repetition. Some people think, I can't talk about that because I've tweeted about it before. No one cares. Everyone forgets. Keep hammering home. Keep doing the same thing. It works. I promise you.
Cool. Very cool. Okay, sweet. I guess we're going to have to end it here. But yeah, thank you, Jamie. You're doing a lot of big things. It'll be exciting to watch you grow.
Cheers for having me, Craig. I hope that was helpful. If anyone wants to ask me any questions, my email is jamie@increasing.com. My website is increasing.com. My newsletter is available at increasing.com/newsletter. I'm on Twitter. If you just type in Jamie IF on Google, you'll find my Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and everything else. And happy to answer any questions people have. Yeah, cheers. Oh, and if you want to get endorsed, if you're a SaaS founder, it's free. Endorse, ENDORSE. Sorry, I spelled that wrong, and I'm coughing everywhere. Endorse, ENDORSELY.com. If you're interested in Content Raptor, it's contentrapt.com. If you're interested in Answer Socrates, free keyword research tool is answersocrates.com. And if you're interested in a community for high-level SEOs and general online business owners, we do have a private community, it's conversions.so.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Bye.